Hi guys, Dan here from Dan's Take. In today's video guys, we're going to be having a look at the RX 470. I've just realised my studio light is not on. I'm going to turn that on right now. So just as I've mentioned, I'm going to be reviewing a RX 470. This one's from Sapphire, and I've already done all my testing, and for you guys that do follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you would have seen the photograph there. But I currently don't have the box, it's already gone back. So yeah, I'm going to be bringing you guys a full overview. I'm going to be showing you what you get in the box, and then just going over the benchmarks to see how it performs in games, and I'm also going to be testing the value benchmark, since you guys are always asking for that one, so you can kind of compare to say your own card and see if it is time to upgrade. And now, without further ado, let's check out the RX 470 from Sapphire. So to get started, as for a quick overview of what you get in the box, you'll find many pieces of documentation on top with the GPU inside some bubble wrap, in addition to a HDMI to DVI video adapter. As for the documentation, this includes a disc with an outdated driver, a quick start manual, and a booklet of information on many other products Sapphire sell. Onto the card's dimensions are 24.3 by 11.2 centimeters. As for the thickness, the card is the standard dual slot thickness we're so used to seeing. As for the cooler strapped to the card, like all reference coolers, it's a standard blower style cooler with a pretty basic heatsink stuck to the GPU chip, featuring a small blower style fan to blow air through the card opposed to blowing air down onto a fin stack. Taking a closer look at the card, although a reference cooler, this card is not bad looking, with a front metal piece that will aid heat dissipation. From the photos of the card, I would have assumed this would have been sprayed plastic, however it is indeed metal. On the reverse side, this card does also feature a backplate, surprisingly. For the money this is great, however I'm not too sure if this was a wise move from Sapphire. However, this is currently the cheapest variant of the RX 470 in the UK, so must definitely hurt their profits if anything. As for the supplementary power requirement of the card, there's a single 6-pin power connector on top. Sapphire do suggest having a minimum of a 500 watt power supply, with this card ready to run between 140 to 170 watts while under full load. Also, with this card sporting a RX 470 chip, it does support crossfire and offers great upgradability in the future, something you can't say about the GTX 1060. As for some further specs, the card features 20 48 stream processors clocked at 932 MHz with a boost of 1216 MHz. The card also features 4 gigs of GDDR5 memory clocked at 1750 MHz, sat on a 256-bit memory bus. As for the outputs, this card features a single HDMI 2.0 B port in addition to 3 DisplayPort 1.4 outputs, supporting a maximum resolution of 3840 by 2160 at 120Hz or 60Hz through HDMI. Anyhow, I think it's about time we install the card and get playing some games to see how it performs. Just like before, I took a look at the GTX 1070 and 1060 from Galax and Palette. I'm going to be doing some live benchmarking with the card so I can show you peeps the performance on screen. This is going to be on my standard test rig with an i7 4790K clocked at 4.2 GHz and 16 gigs of memory. First up, jumping into good old Battlefield 4 of the high preset, this card does pretty well, drawing 102 FPS. Very respectable for a card of this price, and like I was with the GTX 1060, I'm pretty impressed. Switching the graphic settings to Ultra, we do of course see a decrease in frames, however still a very high number at 81 FPS average. Very good to see this figure is above 60 FPS and will deliver a very good gaming experience in Battlefield 4. Moving on to GTA 5, running the game at high settings first with 2x MSAA, the card seems to be doing pretty well, pushing 75 FPS as you can see in the gameplay. Backing out of the game and launching up again with all settings now max, but with MSAA set to ×4 instead of the stupid ×8, the card was able to push 49 FPS and shows GTA 5 is a tad more demanding than Battlefield 4, but still a very good frame rate. Next up we have Need for Speed 2016, which is a tad easier to push than GTA 5. First up we have all the settings set to high at 1080p with FXAA turned on. The 470 can output 84 FPS on average, very impressive. Now keeping it 1080p and raising the settings to maximum with TAA anti-aliasing set, we see a decrease in frames to 65 FPS, still a very healthy number for a card of this price. Onto Killing Floor 2 with the Ultra preset set, the 470 flies away averaging around 93 FPS. Very impressive, although Killing Floor 2 isn't exactly a demanding title despite it looking a very nice game. Do note that the Nvidia Flex settings were disabled during my testing. Lastly, onto an actual benchmark. In Valley at 1080p with the Extreme HD preset, the card was able to deliver 47.3 FPS on average after testing the card 3 times. As for power draw, the card, together with all the other components in the system, including an i7 and 16 gigs of memory, it did pull a maximum of 282 watts, which is a tad more than the GTX 1060, which is significantly more powerful than this GPU in terms of performance. And as for temperatures, the card averaged 77 degrees throughout the testing, while staying surprisingly quiet with a fan speed of 1700 RPM. Take a listen. So guys, that was my review of the RX 470. Overall, what do I think? In general, very good card for the money, and actually, I'm surprised that it's actually very quiet as well. This variant from Sapphire is not half bad in terms of the noise levels. Temps are not bad, and in general, this card is just a very good contender for the money. In terms of the price performance you're going to be getting for this card is just fantastic. You're getting a lot of performance here for your money, and that should be really expected at the lower price point for graphic cards. I know the RX 480 does have a very good price performance, the same with the 1060, but I don't think that they can touch this card. I'm saying this card, I don't have the product with me, but yeah, the 470 is a very, very good card, and I would essentially just recommend the card based on its performance that it gives for the money. We have gone over power draw, and it does use a little bit more than many of the other cards I've tested recently, but this one does. This card isn't as powerful. Yes, we get that, but it does suck up a little bit more power than, say, a card that's just a tad more powerful than it. That is to be expected from AMD cards, but that's the way it is. Unfortunately, you pay not as much, you do get a product that's not as efficient, but you are getting a very good card in terms of price performance, maybe not price in terms of the amount of wattage it'll pull from the wall. So guys, I'm going to conclude my review. I would recommend this specific Sapphire RX 470. You'll find all links in the good old description as always, and yeah, that's going to kind of conclude my review. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.